Sun is just coming up behind me. Gerald should be here any minute. Today we're going after the northern hawk owl. He's moved and we're going to find him. Alright, so Gerald picked me up and we're going to go after the northern hawk owl today. What did you hear, Gerald?
I ran into a photographer yesterday and he was showing me the back of his camera. So the northern hawk owl, which is very scarce in this area, has been spotted across the lake, and he gave me the location.
Nice.
Up to a mile in that location. So that's where we're going to go today. And even this morning my wife says, you know what, I get that feeling you'll find him again. I can say it's a him, it could be a she, but this owl is a beautiful owl.
And it's a beautiful day. The light is just nice and orange and pink, and it's early. I think I've got a good feeling too, Gerald. We're gonna do this today. This is like our 4th trip looking for this guy, so sooner or later we're gonna track him down. Oh, we think he's right here in this tree up here. So he just flew across the road. He's way over there now, so we can't get him anymore, but we did get him.
We did.
So now we can't post any of these photos because there'll be like 100 people come looking for him, so we've got to wait a month.
That's right. Last time that he was spotted across the other side of the lake, I think one gentleman said there was like 10, 11 cars one day, people as far as New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very...
Coming up from New York to see that owl. Look at that eye autofocus working. So the northern hawk owl started right beside the road, flew away into another tree, then flew across the far field, disappeared for 5-8 minutes, and then came back to the exact same tree he started in. So now we're out in the field watching him. And I was mentioning to Gerald that he was saying, again, he's like, some of my images don't look that sharp. And I was zoomed in on mine. I thought, well, same kind of thing. Same thing. The day we went for the Eagles, we noticed the same thing. It's air distortion, guys. I can see it on the A7R5 screen here. It's cold, and then there's heat coming off this field, and I can see it waving in front of them. So that's kind of making our images not as sharp, some of them. Hopefully, I mean, if we take enough, Gerald, take 400. Yes. We'll get a clear one. There's an old turn-of-the-century bridge down here. The road must have went right through there. It's long gone now. So there's actually some spruce growing right on top of the old bridge. Another cold, frosty February morning. The sun has just come up, and I want to go out and do a bit of a shoot today. Look for some wildlife. We're going to bring two cameras, the A7R4 and R5. We've got the R5 here connected to our Tamron 300 2.8 with a 2x teleconverter. So that means it's going to be a 600 millimeter lens today. And the A7R4 is connected to the Sony 200 to 600. Both of these cameras, in combination with those lenses, weigh over 6 pounds each. So not for the faint of heart. My goal is to test the 300 f2.8, which is a 35-year-old lens, and see that if I get out with it enough times here, can I get images that blow my socks off enough to convince me to buy the new Sony 300 f2.8 lens. Guys, I could buy a cheap secondhand car for what they charge for that lens. It's $8,300 plus tax. So it's going to be over $9,000 because I also need the 2x teleconverter for the Sony E-mount to go with it. So it's a huge investment. Okay, but I was looking through photos last night. I have to do more prints for the offices that I supply here. And I was like, oh, I really like that image. Oh, I really like that image. Well, all the images that I was liking were shot with that 35-year-old 300 2.8. Okay, I'll put a couple of them up here on the screen right now. These were all shot using that old 35-year-old mechanical lens, okay? But it does something. A prime lens does something to these images that a zoom doesn't. I just bought that 200 to 600. I've had it for like a week and a half. I've got to be honest, guys. I can't lie to myself. It's an impressive piece of technology, but it doesn't inspire me in any way. My Tamron 150 to 600 was very similar. That is a much faster focusing lens. With the new camera, it does eye autofocus, so it has some tricks up its sleeve compared, when you pair it with the new camera. But I feel that 35-year-old lens, even though it has a bit of chromatic aberration, purple outlining and things that I have to remove in post, it is just as sharp at f2.8. This morning, shooting birds at the bird feeder, I could focus with the f2.8 camera, where the Sony 200 to 600 on the A7R4 would not focus on the chickadee. And then when it does, obviously there's no eye autofocus, so I've got to play around in really low light to try to get it to focus on the chickadee's head. And luckily I had a subject that was staying on the branch for 5 minutes so that I could switch cameras. What I want to do, I think, is take the same shot, if I can, with both cameras and really figure out, is the image from the 300 2.8 better, even though, that lens is older. We'll take that into account. Something about the bokeh, something about that pop that you get with the prime lens that's going to convince me to buy the new one. And this might take me a year of testing, get out, 30 times and do this. But let's start. So I checked the Eagle's Nest. I was hoping for a quick, easy comparison, you know, just have the Eagle sitting there, easy to shoot. Nothing was there. So when I say this morning that the 300mm lens would focus on the chickadees, we have to remember, guys, that I have a 2x teleconverter on there, and the autofocus was still working, and I could still get eye autofocus on the chickadees, which the 200 to 600, a modern marvel of technology, couldn't do it. The light was just too dim. So the new Sony 300 f2.8 lens is even faster than the Sony 200-600, which I have here. It has 2 linear motors, XD motors. So it's going to autofocus probably half again as fast as that lens. It's sharper. It's lighter. It only weighs 3.5 pounds, just under 3.5 pounds. That Sony 200-600 weighs 4.7 pounds. Right away, I'm noticing that I don't want to shoot everything at 600mm. I just stopped and saw a nice scene there. And the zoom lens, I would have zoomed it out to 200 to get a nice little landscape there. But because we're doing this test at 600, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, well, it kind of ruined what I was looking at. So the zoom, it has its place. I gotta be honest, there's something about the 200-600. When I first got it, I was testing it on the A7R4. It was very sharp. It was very fast focusing and super sharp. Beyond, you know, what I need. I'm like, this is awesome. But then I went out shooting with Gerald and another day by myself, and I put the teleconverter on there, the 1.4, and I was not happy with the results. I got so many blurry shots, and I thought, well, this could be because maybe I left the stabilization on when it was on the gimbal. I'm not sure. I just wasn't impressed. And now I'm just, So I came back to the Eagle's Nest, and there is actually an eagle up there. I've taken a shot with each camera, and I think that the new 200-600 is sharper. And again, this isn't a situation where you need, you know, that extra aperture stop. It's just something that's 100 meters away. It's not going to make that difference. You're not going to get that bokeh. 600mm is not enough to shoot that. You need more, which is why I bought the teleconverters. And the 300 is maxed out with the 2x teleconverter already on it, so I don't know. Guys, I think after this little test today, I'm realizing that the 300 2.8 is just, it's limiting in its range, and it's not enough for wildlife. I don't know.